I guess we'll hop into the next one. What is a condition that is often overseen by veterans and not claimed? As a rater, like, did you ever notice, like, man, why aren't people filing this? And I know it's happening. I know they're doing it. Is there anything that stands out to you?
One is the 1 year presumptive on the 38 CFR 3.309.
I was hoping you said that.
Subpart A.
Can you explain that a little bit?
1 year presumptive. So 1 year presumptive is if you do, let's just say 10 years in the military and you get out, you get discharged, you can go to this 38 CFR. And if you have any of those diagnoses on that in that 38 CFR for 1 year presumptives, and you get diagnosed within that year, you get service connected for it. And one of those diagnoses on there is arthritis in any joint. It doesn't matter if it's mild, moderate, or severe. We all got arthritis, right? So they do an x-ray, file a claim. We've had clients file claims for 1 year presumptives. Get service connected for every joint except two, and they were at 50%, and that pushed them over the 95% threshold. And one client said, well, hey, I contacted somebody on YouTube, and they told me don't file a claim within 1 year. And I was like, what? I was like, wait a minute. You got out 3 months ago? Yeah. And I'm like, let me show you this regulation. Let me just show it to you. I'm like, this is what it means. Put the claim in, and he was like, man, if I don't listen to that other person, because you can never go back and get it. That's it. So for active duty service members, because, when you're in the military, you don't go on sick call.
Exactly.
You just, if you're in a combat unit, you're in the motor pool every Tuesday morning. Thursday, you're probably back in the motor pool for sergeant time. You in field artillery, I was in field artillery. You always might be doing an annex or some type of training.
A layout.
Special warfare training, something. Always doing something. So you show up for formation, you think you're going to sick call, and your supervisor say, no, go back home, change, get your BDUs, go down the motor pool, get the keys to the vehicle, whatever, So eventually you just start to suck it up, right? So we've had a couple of clients do that, but that's the main thing. The diagnosis is under that 1 year presumptive because veterans, they don't know.
That's huge. Yeah, that's great information. It kind of leads into a good topic right here of what do you think of when veterans tell you, and I'm sure you've heard it because I've been hearing it as a VSO. I heard it before I was a VSO, and I hear it now as a consultant educator. I don't want to take benefits away from someone else who deserves it more than me.
Right. But I want to say something before I answer that question.
Yeah.
All veterans that listen to this, I don't want to sound like I'm coming off negative. The VA is doing a good job, and I think overall taking care of vets. Because think about other veterans in other countries. A lot of them not getting compensated for injuries they sustain. They're not even getting health care. The VA is a huge organization. They got a lot of flaws, and they need to fix it.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And they're fixing them, but they're always behind.
Yeah.
They're always, because then when they fix this, now some news come out.
Yeah.
And it's going to take them 10 years to figure out what that is, and then another few years to implement it.
And I'm glad you said that. I'm going to jump on that too, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to take the opportunity to say the same thing. I'm not in the business of putting the VA down, right? In fact, I want to help the VA. I want to make it easier for them to adjudicate these claims by educating the veterans on filing the right stuff. And I think you can agree with that. So neither one of us are here to say, the VA's bad, none of that stuff. So I'm glad you said that.
And not just, and don't let one person, I was at the dental clinic the other day. And my dentist just kept canceling. She canceled twice. They're like, oh, you got to come in. I'm like, well, it's not my fault that she's canceling. I'm here. And I said, well, I want another dentist. I said, because she's kind of rude anyway. Come to find out, some of the workers are like, yeah, you're right. She is rude. And the dentist that came in was awesome. Oh, yeah, we can do this. Well, the other dentist said we could. Oh, don't worry about that. They don't like doing it. But if I would have let that one person, that one negative VA employee shape my decision, like every VA employee is like that, then it just would have been negative.
Yeah.
I've had some, encountered some awesome people on the healthcare side, encounter some just negative. And same way on VBA side, I had some people, Raiders on my team. I don't even care if I ever see them again or talk to them. They were just, I didn't feel that they were advocates for veterans, but that's in any organization, but at the end of the day, we as vets, we got to educate each other because, for every negative person probably at the VA, there's probably another 25 or 100 that are doing the right thing, But I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
No. We'll go back, man. That's all good stuff. So the question was, what do you think when a veteran tells you or you hear someone say, I don't want to take benefits away from someone else who deserves it more than I do?
I always tell them, you're not. You're not. And one thing I tell vets, if you have a family and you're not getting those benefits, then you're taking those benefits away from your family.
Absolutely.
Because let's just say, for example, the 100% permanent total. There's other benefits for your dependents if they're going to college, if you own your own home, that they can take advantage of. So you're not taking away from veterans, you're taking away from your own family.
Absolutely.
And Lord forbid something happened to you, and now they're left holding the bag because you had this mentality of you trying to be gun-ho, and thinking that you're taking benefits away from other veterans and you're not.
And I want to kind of answer that question too, because when I was a veteran service officer, the first position I started with, we talked about, I went inside of prisons, and then that led to going into nursing homes. And that's what really pushed me to start really telling people, man, stop wasting time, right? Because when I got to see these veterans that are in nursing homes in really bad situations, Vietnam vets, even got the honor to talk to a few World War II veterans, and a lot of them never pursued anything. Mm-hmm. And now they're in a position where they're in a nursing home, and they don't really have much to go off.
Right.
And family's trying to help, and they're trying to get any little bit they can, and we're there, of course, to try to help them. But at that point, it's so much harder, right? Because not only are the odds stacked against you off the bat, but now they're even 20 times more stacked against you because you're in a nursing home. Who knows your condition? So if your friend, your veteran files for X, Y, and Z, that doesn't mean that your claim is going to be the same exact way.
Right.
Every claim is different. So go out there and do that. So appreciate the answer. But what is the biggest piece of advice you can give a veteran who is considering filing a claim today, right? They're listening to this. They've never filed a claim. They're kind of considering it. What's the biggest piece of advice you can give them?
First thing, do the intent to file. That gives you a whole year to gather evidence, get educated, do the intent to file, and then get educated. Get educated on the 5 ways of service connection, and get educated because it's going to save you. I think it goes back to your question earlier when you asked me about what could veterans do to help VSRs and RVSRs and other VA employees to move their claim along. Mistakes do happen, because you got the human factor. It's nothing, you think about physical fatigue. It's days I got off work. I worked 8 hours sitting at a desk. No physical work. When I got off work, I was dog tired. I was mentally drained because I'm looking at court cases. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at that. But when I got that claim and everything was in line, and I'm like, man, I could just tell I wasn't mentally fatigued at the end of the day. But those 1,000, 2,000 pages you got to look through, but it's just getting educated. Get educated. And a lot of veterans, they'll rely on a VSO. Nope, I don't want to do nothing. Just fill out the paperwork. Well, you still need to be educated because if a VSO fills out your paperwork and you go to that exam, you don't know what a diagnostic code criteria, you don't know. I come across vets don't even know what the VSO claimed.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
So they show up to the exam and the doctor is like, okay, we're going to do this. And they say, well, when did this happen? Well, my VSO filled out my paperwork. Guess what? The VSO is not in that exam with you. You need to understand if you're claiming migraines and you feel you meet the 30% criteria, what is that criteria? What is the definition of some of that verbiage in that criteria.
Man, I'm glad you said that because I tell my clients the same thing. Because how important is that exam when you go there? If you don't have a Nexus letter and a outside DBQ, how important is that?
Oh, it's make or break.
Yep.
You will go or no go. And that's one of the services that we provide in our educational packet. Whatever we build, we customize that packet to for that particular veteran. We got the diagnostic code for every condition. We go over it with them. They review it, and then we review it with them so they'll know, oh, for this condition, I feel I meet this criteria. And we have a conversation about it. So that way, they're able to reasonably articulate their symptomology within that exam. So if they're claiming migraines and they feel they meet the 50% criteria, they're not going in there talking about the 0, 10, or 30%.
Exactly.
And that's for any condition. And that's, again, the importance of being educated and working with somebody like yourself, myself, that know this stuff and can help you familiarize yourself with it. Now, does that mean it's going to be a guarantee where that doctor is going to check all those boxes and you get a 50%? No. But if that don't happen and your personal statement is worded that way, you go in that every day on High Level Review.
Yep.
You're going to win it.
And while we're on that topic real quick, what could you tell the listeners real quick, when should you file a high level review and when should you file a supplemental claim? And I know you have a ton of videos on this because I watched them, and I know when, but
I was just talking about my wife about this yesterday, and this is one of my videos I'm going to do next week. To make that decision, you have to have everything. You got to have full transparency. And veterans say, oh, favorable findings. Cut that off, the rating decision. That means nothing. If they give you a diagnosis, oh, well, then you can use that in your favor if you know how to do it.
Yeah.
But if you had a CMP exam, let's just say you got service connected at 0% for any condition. And that's based off that CMP exam. Why would you even file a high level review without knowing what's on that CMP exam? Because that decision review officer, they're going to go back and look at that CMP exam to see, did you warrant a 10%? If not, is at 0, confirmed to continue. Unless there's evidence, other medical evidence showing that you meet that 10% criteria. If not, on that high level review appeal, it's still going to be 0%. So why even do it? You can just, hey, get educated. Oh, I felt I met the 10% criteria. I didn't have any evidence. Let me go get this evidence, file the increase. Here you go.
Now, why file an increase and not a supplemental? Can you tell them why?
Because the supplemental is when you got denied. You didn't get denied. You already service connected at 0%.
Correct.
Supplemental is if you get denied.
And so you're not agreeing with it if you do the supplemental. And so with the with filing an increase, you're just it's the easier way to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of people get stuck on, and the reason why I'm asking these questions is a lot of people get stuck on, I was denied, or I didn't get the rating I wanted, not denied, and I have to file an appeal, and it's not necessarily the case.
Right. Whereas if you don't know, a lot of people don't even know what to ask on an appeal. And I ask them, I say, so what are you appealing? Well, let me just tell you my story. You'd already lost me. You'd already lost me. I'm like, but why are you filing an appeal? Well, I feel I should be this percentage. So the criteria for that percentage, does it have, if the veteran feels they should be this, grant them this? Well, where do I find it? It's in your rating decision. Because if they granted you the 0%, they have to tell you why they granted you the 0%. And by law, they have to tell you why the next higher evaluation was not warranted. That's the criteria. Do you meet it? No. So if you have a copy of the exam and you know the diagnostic code, is the information or the questions in the CMP exam checked, yes or no, or whatever, for that next higher percentage? No. So what are you appealing?
Yeah.
Know what they say? They said, yeah, you're going to lose that.
They said.
Yeah, you're going to lose that.
the first thing I tell my clients is when they come to me is how much do you know about the VA, right? Like, and usually they tell me not much. When you look at a rating decision letter, how much information's on there? Like, everything you need to know is on there. And so I tell, like, one of the first things I do is try to explain to them how to read that letter, right? And I want to touch on it. I know you mentioned it in videos and things like that, is if you're rated, we'll use headaches again as an example. If you're rated at 0, 10, 30%, it's going to tell you what the next rating is right on your rating decision. And so if you feel you meet that, go gather that evidence, submit the claim, and you're going to probably win because that information's out there. And I saw a video this morning. I was still watching your YouTube channel, and I saw you talking about how a lot of veterans skip the instructions page.
Yeah.
They go right to filling out. And how much information is provided right on that instructions page. Hey, if Block 3 will tell you, hey, if you're filing a TDIU claim, go over here and do this. And so a lot of times people skip that and they file the wrong paperwork. So guys, like Dwayne has said many times throughout this hour we've been talking, is educate yourselves.
Yeah.
Whether it's through us, through the YouTube, through a VSO if you click with them, but it's important to be educated. So
Right.
And we're gonna move to the last question, which is something it's my question. It's something I want to know.
Yeah.
From when you left in 2018, if there was one thing you could change about the current VA claims process, what would that be?
It's not a hard question. If I had the power to change something, I would shake up management.
Yeah.
I would shake up management, and I would bring in a third-party consulting firm that was certified in process improvement methodologies and start from the ground up, because we would have meetings where upper management would come, like from Nashville, DC, and our supervisors would be in there. But nobody really wanted to talk, because it wasn't like it was a safe environment, because they hear what you said and then they would use it against you or try to retaliate or something like that. So I'm like, you know what? When I work from home virtually, I'll be on a computer, but I wouldn't be listening to what they were saying because I just felt it was crap, But that would be the main thing, because you have to get a second set of eyes on this process. The backlog has always been there. Those managers have been there for years. Why is there a backlog? Because this is one thing right now, I could go in there and say, all the VA employees must do this one thing for 365 days. You mark the inventory, you mark the backlog, that 300,000 has been over, claims have been sitting there for over 125 days. And I guarantee you, if you do this one thing, it would probably cut that backlog in half. And I was talking to a manager right before I left, because I was saying, hey, it might be a good idea to get a team together, because we have people here like myself that's been certified by Fortune 500 companies and been trained by Fortune 500 companies in process improvement methodologies, Six Sigma, Starfleet, TPM, all this stuff, right? And we can build out 1-point lessons. SOPs is just known in the military. So when VA employees get to something where they don't know how to do drill pay, or because certain things you don't do all the time. You may go 6 months and then you get this claim, you're like, oh man, what do I do? And so you got to sit there and try and figure it out, or go ask somebody. And that takes time, meaning you could have looked at a 1-point lesson, go to the screen, click on that, input this, and like, okay, yeah, that's how you do it. And then guess what? It's going to help not only reduce the backlog, it's going to help reduce the DTA errors. So until they get to that point, I think you're going to have more DTA errors, especially, if you don't improve in the training, like what I went through. and the management, that mindset.
Yeah.
It's not. They're like, oh, I'm supervisor. I know this, and like you don't know anything. You really got some really good supervisors there. I knew some. They were hands were tied. So, but I think that's the big thing.
Yep. And that's the thing too. I want some of the stuff I wrote down for myself is like, doing what I do now. I put no limit on. I work pretty much 7 days a week, and I'm sure you're probably semi close. I try to not work Sundays, but a lot of times it doesn't feel like work, right? Because I'm truly helping people.
Right.
I love doing that. And, if I can send a quick text message to calm a veteran down or,
Yep.
Maybe they got a rating decision they didn't like or whatnot, I can do that. When I was working as a VSO, I think about this all the time. I worked 37 and a half hours a week. There was no overtime allowed, period.
Right.
It didn't matter what the workload was. Just you couldn't do it. So sometimes you may be a great VSO. You may have one, but they can't do the detailed work that you're looking for.
Right.
They can't answer that phone call on a Saturday, or when you open your mail at 9:00 at night, whatever it may be. So, it's important to kind of just make sure, to educate yourself, know the agencies that are out there that'll work for you, that'll help you, the free resources that are out there, and just pick the best that's for you. But I want to thank you for coming on. Episode 1. I think it's going to be a great hit. We'd love to have you back.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm sure we can talk all day about VA stuff and on the VSO side, on the VA Raider side, and for anyone that's out there that's going through stuff, man. Dwayne coming from upbringing in Missouri to Chicago to join the military, getting out and look at everything you've done, and accomplished. So congratulations. Thank you for everything you're doing in the veteran community. I also want to give myself a shout out today. 2 years ago, yesterday, my wife and I went to a Buccaneers game, and might get a little vulnerable here. So, drank too much that night, along with many other nights. Yeah. And the next day I told myself, I'm going to give up drinking. Okay. And I went into the hospital. My wife had no idea, and I gave up drinking that day, and I haven't drank since.
Man, that's awesome.
Coincidentally, today, when I reached out to you and you said December 20th, it still didn't click to me. And I was on church on Sunday, and it just hit me that day, and I'm like, man, December 20th is my 2-year sober date. So,
man, congratulations.
You can come a long way. You can do anything you put your mind to. And I know, a lot of us veterans go through a lot of struggles, whether it's addiction, isolating yourself, whatever it may be. So, having these conversations, being open, honest with each other, check on your battle buddies. I think it's going to go a long way. So thank you again. And I just want to give you an opportunity too to just quick shout out your website for the book, your business, your YouTube, where they can find you.
Yep. So my book, you can find it on Amazon, VA Claim Success. Somebody else wrote another book, named it VA Claim Success, but mine has my name at the bottom on the front cover. Or you can go to my website, www.kmd89.com, Kilo Mike Delta 89.com. If you purchase it through my website, I will personally sign that book and send it to you. Okay. Also, you can find me on YouTube. What else I was thinking about? YouTube. And the easiest way, you can put my company name, KMD 89 VA Claims Consulting, or just type in my name and you'll see me come up. I got a blue bow tie on, bald-headed guy. So you make sure you subscribe, hit that notification button for all uploads. And the reason why I say that is because when you subscribe and you hit that notification for all notifications, you'll get alerted when I go live. And I go live twice a month. I'm talking about VA compensation on the first Wednesday of every month. And then another night out of the month, another veteran and I, we go live and we're talking about VA compensation and VA home loans. Also, follow me on social media, especially Facebook. I have a Facebook Veterans Business page, KMD89 VA Claims Consulting, and a Facebook Veterans group. I lost my train of thought of the name, Disability Service, VA Disability Service Connection. But I wanted to create a group where veterans can come and not just listen to me, but listen to other veterans. Because as much as I stay in the M21 and 38 CFR, I was at a training one time, and one attendee said, "Hey, Dwayne, you know they updated the DBQs last week." I had no clue. And I was like, "Oh, let me go look." And I looked and I did a video on it. So there may be another veteran out there going through a similar situation that can shed some light on what you're doing if you share something.
Absolutely.
So started out, wasn't getting that much traction. So I think we're probably like over 3,000 members. And also follow me on social media, especially if you're on LinkedIn. I'm putting up AI, business, and entrepreneurial motivational videos for individuals. So you don't have to be a veteran to listen to those. And I'm doing other trainings throughout the month that are free. You don't even have to pay.
You heard that, guys? Free.
Yeah, invest your time. And I get I used to do 4 or 5 free training sessions a month. How to read a DBQ. What's the difference between a rating decision and a notification letter? And I talk about these things in my book, and actually give examples of a first page of a notification letter and the first page of a rating decision, because they come in the same packet. So you need to know which one. So when you're on the phone talking to somebody and they tell you to go look at the notification letter, you'll know which one you're looking at, So some of the things that I do is free. Just I think I was telling you earlier, I did a free training back in July, 4 days. Had 532 people signed up, 150 showed up.
Wow.
And it was free. And it was the same training that I do for companies that companies can pay. They hire my company to come in and educate their veteran employees. And I was like, I'm going to do the same training, but I want to do it for free.
That's amazing.
Because a lot of these companies, these other veterans may not be working for. You know what I mean? So how can I get them the same information? So other platforms that I'm on, do a monthly veteran presentation on the VA claims process for Hillsborough County Community College, Dale Mabry campus, the NLab. Try to get people on there. I think the last one that I did, that was last week, last Thursday. I think we had 3-4 people on there.
Wow.
But it's been up to, 30 people, but it's kind of dwindling, So make sure you connect with me on social media so you can see what I'm doing in the community. If I do a free event, show up, get this free information, because it's definitely going to be a game changer for you.
Absolutely, guys. I can't say enough. Thank you again. And the information he's putting out is coming from the people that are stamping the ratings on your claim. So listen up, man. So I appreciate it, and we'll have a part 2 soon, hopefully.
Oh yeah, very soon. Because we did this one, when you talked about it, I was like, you was like, hey, let's just shoot me an email. I said, no, you got me on the phone now. No telling when you're going to get me on the phone again.
Exactly.
I said, we might as well put it on the calendar right now. Let's do it.
I'm glad we did.
So when I got the questions, I was like, oh man, this is going to be hot. I'm about to make some people upset.
And we'll do it, like I said, a part 2 where it could be more interactive with the veterans and get them asking questions and answer those. So you get the VSO side and the VA Rater side. So thank you again. And stay tuned, man. We're going to be dropping episode 2 hopefully in the next couple weeks after this one comes out. So stay tuned, and we'll get at you guys. Thank you, man.